Well guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm making pepper sauce today. A mango habanero pepper sauce, but I'm adding different types of pepper because by adding different types of pepper, you actually enhance the flavor. If you just do regular habaneros, it comes out good, very, very delicious, but you only get the flavor of the habanero. But if you try with different peppers, and here, like you can see, I'm using red chili peppers, some serrano peppers, some Scotch Bonnets, and a couple of Poblanos, it comes out very good. So I'm gonna get started on these peppers, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and roast these peppers to bring a little bit more of a toasted flavor to it when I go ahead and get to the final product. Okay, and basically, there's quite a few ingredients that you need. Let me pull those off for you. All right, so for ingredients for this pepper sauce, I use the peppers mentioned before. Now you can use sea salt, but actually I enjoy using kosher salt, so I have some kosher salt, fresh cracked black pepper, some apple cider vinegar, 1 sweet onion. I use 3 limes, and I only have 3 mangoes here, but I'm actually using 5. I cut one up earlier. And I said let me leave them out so you guys know. This is about the ripeness that I like to utilize. I don't want it super ripe, but I don't want it too green because I do want to add the sweet. Now I'll usually use my natural honey, but I had a little bit of this leftover clover honey, so I'm going to go ahead and use the leftover clover honey with the natural honey. And it calls for pineapple juice, but my wife is allergic to pineapple juice, so happy wife, happy life. So I'm going to go ahead and use some orange juice. Now I used this in my recipe in the past and it was a huge success. So I'm going to go ahead and get these mangoes peeled, prepped, get the onions peeled and prepped. Oh, don't forget I got some garlic in the fridge that I will also be adding, fresh garlic on the cloves. And I'm going to roast the garlic with the onions and the peppers to bring out that flavor. This I will add after, when the limes I will add after. Everything is blended together and we start to mix our sauce together prior to cooking. And then I will mix in the diced up mangoes with the peppers after I've diced them up after they're roasting, and I'll show you that later. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright, so I've got my peppers and I've got my garlic in my cast iron pot here. And I'm going to go ahead and roast them on here. I like the way the cast iron pot actually roasted. It gives it a good and even roast on there. And it's a dry roast. I'm not putting anything in there. I'm just going to cook it up on a medium heat, allow it to go on there. I've got my onions, my sweet onion diced up. I don't have room for them in the pot, so I'm going to put them in after the peppers are done. And my lovely assistant, my wife, Doralee. Say hello, Doralee. Hi. She helped me cut up the mangoes, so that way the mangoes are all set to go, and we're going to go ahead and get this started. Alright, so I'll give you an update as soon as it starts to char a little bit. Now, like I said, I'm just going to cook this up to char. I just want some char on it because it's going to give a nice roasted flavor. Alright, so I'll be back in a bit. Alright, so I've got the peppers here roasting. As you can see, I got a nice little roast on them. I'll be taking the center ones out because my burner is not big enough and it's not getting the edges, so the ones on the edges are taking a little bit longer. As you can see, I left the garlic there on that side. Now I left the garlic skin on because it works well in there. You just peel it off a lot easier, and it saves the garlic from burning really easy because the garlic burns real quick. Now by roasting it, not only are you going to get that roasty flavor, but it does bring out a lot of flavor in the peppers. It brings out the oils. But you want to be careful though, because a lot of people like to really roast it to the point of burning. I don't like that. I like just the roast, not the burn. Alright, so we'll be back as soon as I get this up. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you, now that I got the onions in the pan, I'm giving them a nice light char. I just flipped them, they're almost done. There's my garlics, as you can see, nice and charred up. I'm going to start peeling those as soon as I get the onions out. And there are my peppers, also nice and charred up, looking very pretty. You got to let them cool for a little while after you cook them, okay, because you're going to put them in the blender and you're going to really puree that stuff because you want to mix it in to make your sauce. Alright, so these are about done. I'm going to take them off in a minute and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I pureed everything together, including the mangoes. Those are the peppers. That's the color, the nice green color came out with. I poured some of the mango mix in there. I poured about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of the apple cider vinegar, about 1 cup of the orange juice that was there, and I'm going to introduce the honey while it's cooking so that way the honey breaks down and mixes well. So The smell in this house is going to fill up really well, and I think it's going to come out delicious. I'll try it as soon as we get through this portion. If you hear music in the background, it's because I have wonderful guests enjoying the view. Alright guys, talk to you in a minute. Well guys, okay, so I've got the mixture, as you can see, all nice and mixed up. It's changed its color. It's got a nice little dark hue. It's not as mango-y as the last one I did. I did add a little bit more honey to give it a little bit more sweetness, probably about 4 to 5 tablespoons of it, because I did want a sweet hot sauce, not a just a regular spicy one. And I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add roughly around what we like for black pepper, but freshly cracked. So it's going to take quite a few turns to get this down, because I want enough black pepper in here to give it a good flavor. I'm usually around 2, maybe 2.5 teaspoons, or tablespoons, sorry. So that's about right. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put 3 limes in there. It's going to give it that nice little citrus flavor, and it will intensify the heat in a sense, in my opinion, where the flavor kind of pushes through with the citrus. To me, it actually enhances the pepper's heat, and I kind of know, I like that little citrusy flavor in with the lime. A lot of people use lemon, but I prefer the lime. I grew up with lime, so we always use lime, so for me it comes out good. So we're going to let this simmer here for probably about, I don't know, about 30 to 40 minutes until it's basically nice and cooked up. I want all the flavors and all the spices to cook together and mix in well. And once they're all mixed in and everything's nice and flavored, I'll taste it and see where I'm at. At that point, I can decide whether I want to add more pepper, add more salt, or if I don't think it's sweet enough, I can add a little bit more honey. All right, guys, so we'll get back with you as soon as this is done. All right, guys, so I've got the sauce already done, and I began pouring it into my jars. Obviously not going to have enough jars, so I'll get some more later. Now, it did come out with a great flavor. I did use a little bit more pepper than I did the last time, so it did come out a little hotter than I expected. But I do recall that the last time I made this, it did have that initial heat, but once it cooled down, the heat sort of just, it mellowed out a little bit with the mango. Not that the heat went away, it kind of like the flavors mixed so that the heat wasn't so intense. So I'm using here the canning funnel, and I've got my canners. I've already sanitized everything, and I put the jars there. So I gotta quickly put these in before it cools off, because I want to make a good seal. All right, guys, this is my sauce. I will show you the final jarred products and what I have left over, and we'll see how it goes from there. All right, guys, this is the final product. I've got a total of 15 jars, 1 giant soup container, and a small container filled with hot sauce. It came out very well. It's very good. It actually comes out very well when you're eating it with empanadas or anything of that nature. I'll put the ingredients down below, and I will go ahead and post it with the video. All right, leave your comments, like, subscribe if you'd like to. I've just started this channel, and I plan on continuing with many of my recipes so that everybody can enjoy them. All right, guys, have a great one.